A very good evening. My name is Aishwarya Dongre IPS, and I belong to the 2017 batch of the Indian Police Service belonging to the Kerala cadre. It is my absolute pleasure to be part of Junoon JML and sharing my experience of pursuing my passion and standing true to it. I have graduated from Joseph Ben ML School in 2010, and I have some of the fondest memories of my childhood and my early teenage years from the school. So it's obviously a very mixed feeling to be part of this screen. A little bit about my journey. After I graduated from St. Xavier's College, after I finished JML, I went to St. Xavier's College and did my double majors in economics and political science. Post which I took a year off and shifted to Delhi. I have always been somebody who has been at home, so a complete shift out of my comfort zone to Delhi didn't go in too well, and obviously the entire atmosphere is so competitive, and it gets to you. So my shift and my decision to Delhi was one of the toughest decision. Obviously, being away from family in a completely new city, a completely new environment, no emotional support. So that was one of my biggest struggles, and it was a roller coaster ride, to be very true. And I didn't continue for a very long time in Delhi. I had gone there for my preparation. Once I kind of got a hang of it, I realized that I couldn't be very much away from my home, because the entire UPSC process requires a certain sense of emotional, mental stability, along with the exhaustion that you face because of continuous studies. So I took a very tough decision of leaving everything back and coming to Bombay and preparing from my home in Mumbai. I gave the 2016 attempt, and I cleared it in my very first attempt. It was I actually took it up to my ego. A lot of people told me that it is very difficult, that you will not be able to clear it in your first attempt. And that kind of put me off, and I really took it up to my ego and also to the fact that I'm really stubborn. So I was wondering, why couldn't I clear it? So I put in a lot of effort. So when I cleared the examination, to be very honest, I expected it. Although getting into the Indian Police Service was not an immediate, what do you say, an immediate happy reaction, because I didn't know how I would fit in, because we usually have a certain image of the police, how they should be and how they should behave, a particular stature, a particular attitude. And as we grow up, we always put ourselves in certain boxes, that we can be this and we cannot be this. So I initially was in that phase, that maybe I do not fit in here. However, I took the deep plunge. It was a decision I took, that I would stay by the Indian Police Service and see what it has to give to me and what it is that I can give to the service. And I felt like clearing the UPSC Civil Service examination and getting the Indian Police Service was in some way destined to show that I have a larger picture. Like, my larger picture was to serve the country, to serve the people. So I guess wearing the uniform provided one such opportunity, and I did not want to let it go off easily without experiencing what it actually is. 3 years down the line, I have no regrets. I absolutely love and I have absolute pride in uniform. Yes, we have our days which are like full of ups and more of downs, but I think that makes us stronger. I did about 2 years of training, and that training has really chiseled me as a person, and my personality. I feel my personality has developed over a period of time. Definitely, school, my formative years, have played a very crucial role. Then, with St. Xavier's College, also playing a very crucial role. It taught me the art of balancing. For example, a lot of people wondered if I prepared for the civil service examination in my college. I was very clear that the college life is one of the only times you're going is a time of life you're going to get only once, and I really wanted to enjoy. So squeezing in time between academics and some extracurricular, I ensured that I had a social life. I did not study during my college tenure. I had a lot of fun, and it actually helped me, during your preparation, when everything you feel is like going downside, you have some really fond memories from college that keep you going. So I'm really glad that I maintained that balance, that when I was in college, I concentrated on college studies itself and enjoying college life. Yeah, so after which I cleared the examination. We had a rigorous training of about approximately 2 years at the Sardar Vallabhai Patel National Police Academy in Hyderabad. It included we had 40-kilometer route marches with like a rucksack of about 20 kg and a rifle. Then we had like obstacle exams and then running 16 kilometers, yoga and swimming and bungee jumping, like so many things which continuously challenged. It definitely challenged your body, but it definitely had a huge bearing on your mental strength. It was at that time that you realize your mental strength is immense, and it is in you. We just require certain opportunities, certain pushes to realize that. I wouldn't say my training had been easy for me, but I think it definitely made me into what do you say, a more chiseled person. It had its own negatives and positives. I learned a lot. I learned what it is to be hard but yet be soft at the same time. How you're supposed to be firm but yet maintain your emotional balance. So yes, the training of the Indian Police Service was one hell of a roller coaster, but I don't think I would have wanted it any other ways. We were exposed to a lot of modules, and coming from a background where I never expected myself to get into the Indian Police Service, to coming into training for such long hours, it definitely had a lot of teething period. It took a lot of time, but I don't think I have any regrets. I have gained a lot of strength, a lot of emotional and mental strength, and I wouldn't say I have reached my peak, but I'm sure I'm evolving. After which I'm posted as Assistant Commissioner in Trivandrum. It is my first posting, and it is full of challenges. Like, for example, there have been times like you've been exposed to, for example, the entire COVID situation, and you're thrown in the midst of a crisis, and there you're supposed to handle it. So the whole crisis management, and especially as a leader, it is a very delicate balance. I mean, you're supposed to maintain your calm but yet take certain swift decisions. um, so yes, obviously the entire COVID pandemic uh, was a challenging time, is a challenging time for many of us. We're yet learning, we're yet unlearning, we make lots of mistakes, lots of faults. But what is important is that you're continuously learning. I stand by my passion. My passion is to serve the people and to work really hard for the country. And I think each opportunity, each day for me in while wearing the khaki has been an opportunity to fulfill my passion, to fulfill my larger goal, and work better towards my life's purpose. To everybody, like a lot went into. I think somebody had even asked me about the whole incident of carrying the human heart in like flat 30 minutes across a distance of 300 kilometers. I did not know the identity of the donor, nor did I know the identity of the person who was receiving it. What mattered is doing your service. And sometimes when we pursue our service, it, you know, uh, these personalities, like who am I working for, what am I working for, it kind of blurs out. What just matters is doing your service with all honesty and integrity. And for me, my conscience is something that has always kept me going. So for me, it was not a miraculous task. It was just me doing my duty very honestly, and a lot of teamwork. I would never take credit for what I have. This whole achievement of transporting the human heart and everything. It's definitely a teamwork. A lot of medical personnel, a lot of police personnel, a lot of other staff have played a very crucial role in in enabling this to happen. So I feel as a leader, one of the most crucial tasks is to understand the importance of your team and how everyone works together. I have a lot of strengths, but I have an equal number of weaknesses. Those same weaknesses are commensurated by somebody who has, my weaknesses could be somebody else's strengths. So that's okay. When it comes to a number of crime cases, yes, obviously they have its own toll on you. It takes time to completely disassociate from certain crimes, because obviously in your initial phase it does affect you, like being exposed to certain murder cases and protection of children against sexual offenses, cyber crimes. These kind of things are like jarring on your face. Law and order issues, for example, in Trivandrum, we never expected a stone pelting issue, and there I was amidst the whole migrant crisis, where the migrants were all awry and really upset about not being able to go back, and police being the visible face of the government, people, the migrants, thought it was a great idea to throw stones. But when I look at it from this perspective, you're standing there. You have to lead your force, because everybody is looking up to you to see how are you going to react. If you take a back seat, it's going to affect the morale of your force. It's going to affect everybody around you. That does not mean that you do not have certain fears. You do not have certain certain what do you say so, yeah, obviously certain fears, and it's not that you're all courageous to go out there. Obviously you have tension, but that does not mean that somebody else behind you would not have that. It is about how you have to overcome this. It is on the spot decisions. So the art of communication is something that I feel that really helps in such cases. When it comes to these are just a couple of incidents which I thought I could just briefly narrate. So at the end, what matters is having a certain amount of emotional stability, a certain amount of compassion, empathy, and and lots of hard work, integrity, and honesty. It's your conscience. There is that inner voice within you that's always going to tell you what is right and what is wrong. So I feel all the kids or all the parents or whoever's out there listening to me, passion is something which develops. It takes time. You have to work hard, but always remember there's a voice within you that's always giving you the right direction. Kindly listen to it. Um, when it comes to working on your passion, I understand we make a lot of sacrifices. For example, when I was preparing for the examination, I completely cut off from the social world. It was you're in your early 20s, like 2021, when I was preparing, and everybody around me on social media is like partying and having fun, and I was like stuck in one small dingy room. So I felt this whole uh, everything turning black around me, and really not a great space. But it was a conscious decision. It was difficult, no doubt, but it was a decision that I had to take. It was a choice I had to take. It was certain sacrifices I wished to make, because my goal was clear. I wanted to get into the civil service at any cost. So this do or die situation should be there when you are going about to pursue your passion. People perceive police to be of a certain image, which is okay, but I think that is changing over a period of time. A lot of people say and really look up to me, saying that, oh, that's a woman female IPS officer, and that kind of puts me off, saying that I feel like women have worked as hard as our male counterparts while in training, while in service. So putting a gender before an IPS officer kind of dilutes the entire magnanimity of holding the position. Just calling us IPS officers wouldn't make us feel any less. We're working the same. So you never call a teacher a male teacher or a female teacher, or a doctor a female doctor, male doctor. It's very rare. So when you see somebody in uniform services, I don't see why you should call that person a female officer or something. We are standing true to our uniform. We are standing true to our ideals, our service rules. So I think that should be very clear when we work. With regard to parents who are also watching this, I feel the generation of today has their heads really clear. Maybe a lot of them have confusions. We have a lot of options available. But as parents, what is very crucial that you all should ideally do is support your child. Your child is going to look up to you, maybe directly, maybe indirectly, but always tell them what is right, what is wrong. But at the end, if they take decisions, they have to fall. We all have fallen. It is only when we fall, face hardships, do we realize um, the importance of failures, the importance of setbacks. So, to the parents and maybe to the teachers also who are listening to me, I would strongly urge that on the platter, tell the student, tell the child, these are your options, this is good, this is bad, this is ugly. But at the end, if they take a decision, they may have setbacks, but that is okay. That is absolutely okay. Uh, JML has always been my comfort zone, and addressing, this entire talk of about 100%, 100 odd persons. It's something of pride, and I would always look up to the school for always bringing up certain innovative techniques to reach out to kids to enable them to enhance their personality. To the kids out there, the world is like huge. It's waiting for you to, go conquer it. It's has its own challenges. For example, here I face challenges of, for example, the language. Obviously, the language is something I am yet learning. Number two, you are quite away from your comfort zone of being in a place which you're very comfortable with. Number three, food patterns, life patterns, social life patterns all go for a complete change. Number four, continuous working hours. But I think when you go back at the end of the day, there is a sense of satiation that yes, I am doing something, and I think at the end it makes everything worth it. Um, it has been something that has stayed with me of working for people, working for the nation since I was a child. I could trace it back to maybe my eighth grade or ninth grade, where certain influence of certain icons, certain literature that you study, it kind of carved out my passion. But it is not to say that it was just overnight that I decided that I wanted to do this. I have evolved, I have continuously grown, and it is over a period of time that I had realized that I want to be here. I am not going to say that my journey ahead is going to be like full of roses. It definitely is not going to be. But I think I'm up for it. I'm up for the challenges. It is full of excitement. You can actually see when you address somebody's problem, you can see immediate actions that are done so that people feel okay, justice is done. When you go about nabbing certain criminals, you go about settling certain law and order issues, you go about handling certain sensitive cases with certain amount of balance. It is a sense of satisfaction, personal satisfaction. It's a job where you do not essentially always get appreciation, maybe more of brickbats, but that's okay. I think that is here to change. Even if it does not change, I think women and men in uniform are stand as pillars there to protect you all. So I would like to conclude saying that you should have your roots. Kindly have your roots. It will keep you humble, but at the same time, have your wings. Let them allow you to fly, soar really, really high. So always have your roots to humble you and wings to enable you to fly. The world is out there for you to conquer. It is all through your hard work, honesty, integrity, and your dedication. You should have, like, okay, this is what I want, and I will do anything to get it. So have it drawn out very clear in your mind. Have it very clear. It's not necessary you have to fit in a particular type. You don't have to be, like, for example, absolutely muscular and essentially very aggressive or of a particular type to fit in. You can be who you are. That is your contribution to where you're going to be. Never lose your identity. Yes, you adjust, you adapt, but never change. And I would thus like to say that, just conclude saying that I'm really glad to be part of Junoon JML. Even more proud to be, speaking in front of my own alma mater. It's been an establishment that has played a very crucial role in forming my personality, and I hope that we continue to make the world a better place. The world is getting to become a better place, but don't lose sight, don't lose hope, and I wish everybody the very best. And thank you for having me. It really means a lot to have me speaking to all of you and hoping that even one small bit has reached out to you. Maybe this 20-minute talk, out of this, even if like maybe 5 seconds has touched your heart, I think that's a job I feel well done. So thank you very much, and wish you all a very good day.